Once you're in Paris, there's going to be a mass action on the 12th of December. It's called the D12. And this is the first time ever that NGOs, trade unions, faith groups, grassroots movements, more autonomous individuals and groups have actually come to an agreement. It's the first time in history they've come to an agreement to do a mass mobilization together. So the idea is that on the 12th of December there will be in Paris, in the center, alternative space where people will be able to have a rally, to demonstrate and to show alternative ways of living and possibly some form of action. Greenpeace are talking about creating some wind turbines and leaving them there, and it will be a kind of like relatively friendly, acceptable space. But on the other hand, there will also be something called the Red Lines. And this has been put together by a big number of people. And the idea is that we'll go to Le Bourget, which is the center where there'll be all the negotiations happening during the whole 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of December. And the center will be surrounded by different mass groups coming from different areas, blocking different key strategical points, whether it's a motorway coming in or whether it's a bridge. And it's not exactly to block Le Bourget, that's not the idea. It's to symbolically surround it and to be carrying at the front of each line, at the front of each group, these big inflatable red lines. And behind that with 2, 3, 4, 500 people, however many will be. And the reason for this is because it's going to be so easy for the media to say, well, you know, Hollande and the negotiators, they came to these agreements, they're not bad, blah, 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 footnote, oh, and there are a few protesters. Forget about the rest. This is going to be, because it's going to be impossible for the camera, for the media to see these red lines and people not to ask, wait, what's this about actually? You know, it's to be in the narrative, it's to not be forgotten. And these red lines, they're going to be defined as what we need to not cross. The red lines we can't cross to keep a livable planet for all species on this earth. And we know that the COP isn't going to come to the right conclusions. We already know this due to all the negotiations that have been happening to the years coming up to December. They aren't making the right deals. But we're still going to show what these red lines are. And once we get to these different positions around Le Bourget, around the negotiating center, we're going to create a space to hear from communities that are directly affected by climate change, to hear their stories, to hear their experiences, and we're going to start planning for what we want to do in 2016 all together. So that's the idea. We're not going to try and escalate any confrontation with the police. There's a kind of action consensus that has been agreed on from many, many different groups, from a big spectrum of where they may come from, be it faith groups, be it NGOs and grassroots. But we do want it to be more of a flash mob rather than a general mobilization. It's going to be about taking the space and about empowering whoever wants to be it's about empowering people to be heard and to say what we really believe in and how we want to move on from here. And I think that's the end.
Brilliant, very much, Summer.